We are continuing our political series of interviews, and we have joined us in the studio Eric McGhee. He is the Libertarian candidate for Arkansas District 32, and we just heard from Eric along with the other candidates running for that seat at the Kiwanis Club debate. So after this is over, you can go back and watch that on our Facebook page as well. But we do have Eric here today for his individual interview, and so as I always got to start off with the disclaimer: Kayla Can, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office, but we do encourage you to exercise your right to vote because, as I always say, somebody's going to get elected and ultimately sit in that seat and make decisions that will affect you. All right, so with that being said, Eric, I hope you're doing well.
Hey, I'm doing great.
Put the mic a little closer to you. Kind of like they told you at the Kiwanis. Yeah, so you can speak directly into it.
There we go.
All right, so as I always start off, just tell the listeners and viewers a little bit about yourself and your background.
Oh, okay. My name's Eric McGhee. I'm 59 years old. I served 21 years in the U.S. Navy. I did 8 years of active duty initially. I served in the submarine force. I served on 3 different submarines. Plus, I served for 3 years overseas in Japan. Best 3 years of my life, actually. And but I got out of the Navy off active duty after a little over 8 years because I didn't want to go back to another submarine. So I got out and joined the reserves. And while in the reserves, I was deployed several times. I served in the Middle East, countries like Bahrain, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates. I served in the vicinity. I'm doing operations in the vicinity of Iraq, but I was never really shot at. Or did, any kind of serious type of combat. I was very fortunate. No one in my unit got killed or seriously hurt, and obviously I didn't get killed. And fortunately, I didn't get shot or anything like that. My campaign is really all about the fundamentals. I want to get back to fundamentals, and that is infrastructure, education, and law and order. When it comes to infrastructure, my immediate concern is street lighting in Jonesboro. I believe we need to get more more money from Little Rock to put up new street lighting throughout the 32nd district. The 32nd district is the north side of town, midtown, downtown. And if you go to the areas where we have the highest crime rates, the street lighting is terrible. And as you all know, good lighting is a great deterrent to crime. Now, that's not going to completely solve the problem of crime, but it will reduce it a significant amount. When it comes to education, my main focus is expanding VOTEC programs in junior highs and high schools, and I believe we need to get more. We need to invest more money in that, and it would be my job as state representative to go get that money in Little Rock. When it comes to law and order, I believe our police departments need more training when it comes to dealing with this de-escalation. Knowing how to talk to people is a big deal. If we can de-escalate a problem, then we'll have less shootings, at least police-involved shootings, and people will tend to trust the police more. And I think that's a very important factor, is trust. So, but also with education, I'm kind of getting out of whack here, but I really want to put an emphasis also on physical education. I believe obesity is a serious problem with our youth. If our youth are coming out of high school obese, that's going to be a serious detriment to them getting ahead. And not to mention that their health will quickly decline as they get older, and we'll have a generation that winds up on disability by the age of 35 because they're not in their health is been compromised through obesity. But essentially, that's I'm all about getting back to the fundamentals. A lot of people like to talk about issues that divide us. Usually, that involves social issues. I'm more concerned with concrete issues. No pun intended. Infrastructure.
Well, infrastructure is. A lot of it is, concrete, rebar, and wood, and all that other stuff.
Right. I think when it comes to one thing that government does, I've looked at as a libertarian, of course, I believe in minimal government, but at least since the end of World War II, look at post-World War II America, one thing government has done very well has been infrastructure. And I believe that we really need to focus on that. I mean, if we look at the interstate highway system, what that accomplished, under the Eisenhower administration, he got that going. That really did amazing things for our national economy, our supply chain and quality of life. So if we spend most of our time talking about infrastructure, it'll solve a lot of the other problems, social issues and whatnot. And the same with education. And of course, in order for a civilization to properly operate and have a high quality of life, you have to have law and order. You can't do business without law and order. So.
Absolutely. And of course, while we on that topic, as far as other parts of criminal justice reform, especially regarding communities of color, because one of the things that you mentioned was about de-escalation. And of course, obviously, African Americans have more of a fear of interaction with police just because of the different incidents that came on. So far as like criminal justice reform, just kind of drill into that a little bit deeper.
Well, I don't have a perfect solution for all this. I'm just a human being. I'm definitely not God, and I don't claim to be a genius. When it comes to, I think the problem is trust. That's a big issue, and I think within the African American community, especially with black males, right? They're very distrustful of police because of the history. Things have happened that were wrong. In order to solve this problem, I think when we look at policing. You see, I'm not saying police officers are lazy or anything like that, so don't take me wrong. But the problem is they're always driving around in squad cars. And when police officers are sitting in a squad car, they're not interacting with the community one-on-one. And perhaps what I'd like to look at is perhaps putting up small precincts throughout the different communities, and perhaps putting in what they would call police boxes within the community, and we could have beat cops where the citizens will be interacting with police officers more. And I think if we do things like that, that would have that could solve a lot of our problems. When it comes to criminal justice reform, we have to really take a look at the prison system. I've talked about this before, but I think the prison system that we have here in Arkansas is more focused on the punishment and less on reforming. And the thing is that I think if someone makes a mistake, let's say a nonviolent crime, they commit some kind of nonviolent crime so they can get ahead in life, and then they have to go pay the consequences with a prison term. There should be some kind of training system where that they can, when they go back out in the community, they can be employed. And that's a serious problem. Ex-cons have a difficult time getting gainful employment. Now, granted, they can go down to what they call that labor finders or something like that, and they can work these awful jobs that are physically demanding and have no future. They can get jobs like that, but there's no future, and then as a result, a lot of individuals wind up turning back to crime. And but we have to address something. We have to address these issues with prison reform when we're talking about dealing with criminal justice reform, because someone served a time in prison, they should have some kind of opportunity or at least some kind of avenue of opportunity where they could become, productive members of society. But at the moment, I don't believe we really have that.
Okay. All right. So we'll kind of move on a little bit. So if you get elected, what will your top 3 priorities be?
Well, my top priority, number one, is to get funding for better street lighting in Jonesboro, because that can not solve a lot of problems, but it could make a lot of problems less serious. That's number one. Number two, I want to put more money into VOTEC within our education system. I would like to start it like in the 7th grade, because I want to create opportunities for our youth when they graduate high school. They can immediately move into the labor force, making a decent living, where I'm not putting down McDonald's or anything, but you don't get paid a lot of money when you first, start working at McDonald's. I believe it's minimum wage. But if you were to come out of high school and say, have some kind of certification in electronics as an electrician, you can move into you immediately have access to jobs that pay pretty well. My third priority is also putting in sidewalks. And of course that's with infrastructure. Now, Jonesboro has made a lot of progress over the last, I would say, 10 years in putting in sidewalks around the city, but it's not moving fast enough. And I've talked to people that have worked in contracting, and a lot of it is, most of the money is going to places like Fort Smith and Fayetteville and Little Rock, and I don't believe that Jonesboro is getting a fair amount of money to seriously make to have significant progress in putting in sidewalks, and specifically in the 32nd district. If you look at the sidewalks, say on North Culver House or down by G Street, and all those neighborhoods down behind Jonesboro High, Annie Camp, and then north of Johnson, the sidewalks there are just awful, and that lowers the quality of life. If we have good street lighting and we have sidewalks, the community tends to come together more, because then you have more people, going for a walk at night, and the community gets to know each other better, especially if you have good street lighting and you have good sidewalks. And also, it'll set the environment where small businesses can thrive, and we'll have and we'll expand our local business community, and we won't be just having Dollar Generals and Walmarts. Nothing against Dollar General or Walmart, but it would be really nice if we could have like a local baker or local butcher set up. And if we have solid infrastructure, then that will encourage business in our community, specifically in the 32nd district.
Okay, and you are running as a libertarian, so there may be some people out there that may not be familiar with what the Libertarian Party is or what it stands for. So kind of educate those out there about the Libertarian Party and what you all stand for.
Well, it depends on the libertarian you talk to. It's kind of a common thing. I went to the Libertarian convention in Little Rock back in February. And, a lot of times, libertarians will be talking, well, you're not a real libertarian. No, you're not a real libertarian. So what is a libertarian? I mean, a Libertarian Party was created in approximately 1972. They were a break off from the Republican Party. A lot of people, the original founders of the Libertarian Party in America formed the party as a protest to Richard Nixon's expanded bombing during the Vietnam War, and when he expanded the bombing of Cambodia along with North Vietnam. And there was a lot of Republicans that were very much anti-war. That was the beginning of the Libertarian Party. and they believe that we shouldn't be getting involved in foreign conflicts, for a number of reasons, I mean, for moral reasons, and also, and mainly for economic reasons. War is very expensive. Now, libertarianism, if you want to look at it as an ideology, but really it's the anti-ideology, I believe it's all about pragmatism. Government works for the people do not work for the government. That's the basic principle. And what we need, a lot of people believe that if there's a problem, well, the government needs to step in. Well, that's not necessarily true. Especially when it comes to the federal government or the state government, that we need to solve our problems at the lowest level possible, and that would be at the city council level or at the county level. Naturally there are some problems like the city council can't come up with the funding to put in highway systems and things like that. You have to go to like the state government realistically, or go to the federal government to make that work. But really, it's very Jeffersonian. Like Thomas Jefferson said at one time that he'd rather have a country that has 1 million yeoman farmers rather than like large plantations, or today it would be large corporations, because if people are loyal to a large corporation, are forced to, if too many people are working for larger corporations, they're going to be more loyal to that corporation than they are loyal to, say, their country or their belief systems. So the smaller government it is and the more local it is, I believe that's what libertarianism is all about, and so essentially it goes back to the teachings of John Locke and Thomas Jefferson. But if you bring in another libertarian, they're going to give you a totally different answer.
Okay, we have
honest.
Okay, we have a question from our Facebook Live feed. Brittany Lewis asks, what are your views on diversion programs in the criminal justice system?
What do you mean by diversion? What do you mean by diversion programs?
Brittany, if you can type in the comments what that is more specifically. Also, if you could also respond to that afterwards on in the comments on our Facebook, because we're actually running out of time. I do want to give you time to talk about anything else that is on your mind. So, Brittany, go ahead and put that in the comments, and if possible, Eric will reply to you on the Facebook post. So, all right, as we got about 4 or 5 minutes left, anything else that you want to say to the listeners and viewers out there?
Well, one thing, if you're interested, if you ever want to ask me a question, you can go on to my website, Eric McGhee for staterep.com. There's an area in there where you can send me an email and I can respond to questions at any time. I strongly encourage that. Really, my main concerns, I'm all about infrastructure, education. Oh, education. Another thing I didn't really touch on physical education. What I would like to do is I'd like to expand the school day by 1 hour, and I believe the school day should start at 7 a.m. And the first thing that the first class for everybody in the school would be physical education, where they actually have to go out and do something. Now, I believe, like in high school, a kid should graduate from high school and at least be able to run 1.5 miles and do 5 pull-ups. And so every day when the kids come to school, the various classes will go on, like, say, a 1 mile run, and to start getting our kids and our youth in shape. That would be something I would like to implement, at least at the high school level. And I believe that would go far in reducing obesity within among our youth.
Okay. All right. So we want to thank you so much for joining us. We are speaking with Eric McGhee, Libertarian candidate for Arkansas District 32. And, of course, Kayla Kidd, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. We do not endorse, support, or oppose any candidate for office, but we do encourage you to exercise your right to vote. Learn more about each of the candidates, what they stand for, and make your decision. Of course, if you want to know more about how Eric stands on the issues, you can go back on our Facebook page and watch the most recent, actually about an hour ago, Kiwanis Club Debate. We streamed that live, and of course, you can watch that and kind of learn a little bit more about some of the issues which you stand for. Go ahead and give them that website one more time, how they can reach you.
You can reach me at Eric McGhee for staterep.com.
All right, Eric McGhee for staterep.com. All right, that's going to do it for this interview. And of course, this is All Gospel Wednesday. We got great gospel music all day long. You guys have a great and blessed day. This is KLEK on 2.5 FM.